Most of the homebuyer grants you've heard about over the past year have been completely wiped by the federal government. Here's what is happening. So on March 25th, what happened is a new policy changed from FHFA. So they're the ones who oversee Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and they had what were called special purpose credit programs. Okay, again, created by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And now individual lenders were able to give out grants from these entities. So there were different grants, upwards of $10,000 that you could get to be able to buy a home and use it for your down payment or closing costs. And they helped, again, thousands of dollars for things like down payment grants and help with closing costs as well. So it's ending most of these programs. Okay, so things like Fannie Mae's $5,000 Home Ready First grant, this used to go up to actually $10,000 and they got reduced to $5,000 and then now is being cut. Also, programs like Freddie Mac's Borrow Smart Access, and then also other programs. For instance, UWM had a $5,000 grant. Bank of America had a $0 down grant that was available as well. And so all of these grants are going away. Now, this all happened because Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, overseen by FHFA, basically said, hey, these don't align with the mission that we are looking to move forward into. And so these have all but have gone away. There are a couple of programs that are going to last around till July, but they're really difficult to qualify for and only offer around $1,000 in a grant program. So they have a really tight box to be able to qualify for them, which is why I'm not talking about them here, especially because they're going to disappear soon as well. So it's unclear whether these programs are going to continue in the future. Often what ends up happening is usually every 1 to 2 years, we see new grant programs come available. But this is the first time that we've seen kind of a sweep from FHFA saying all of these grant programs are disappearing. So something that I want you to keep in mind is if you're already under contract for a home with one of these grants, you need to talk with your loan officer as soon as possible to make sure that assistance is still going to be available when you're at the closing table. Now, some programs that are still sticking around even after this that you might have heard are programs like Home Ready and Home Possible. So these are created by Fannie Mae, has Home Ready, Freddie Mac has Home Possible. Now, these programs still are around, and FHFA has not said that those are ending at all. They haven't really mentioned them at all. But these programs allow 3% down. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer. These are for conventional loans with a 620 credit score and above. What's nice about Home Ready and Home Possible is that they don't give you any assistance in the down payment. However, the minimum down payment is 3%, so it's a really low down payment. But they also have lower interest rates and lower mortgage insurance compared to traditional conventional loans. So these are still a really great option for a lot of people. It just doesn't include any sort of down payment assistance that you could have got with some of the grants that were canceled by this program. So what you can't control, obviously, is if these grants are available, but I know it can feel really frustrating, especially if you were like, okay, I'm banking on these grants, being able to use this for my down payment, and I'm working on my savings, and maybe with the two, I'll be able to buy a home. And seeing these taken away can feel really frustrating. And it's absolutely normal for you to feel like, oh, I can't believe the goal for savings got pushed even further into the future. So what we can control, I want to show you some strategies that you can use. There's still programs available for you to be able to buy a home. It might be a little bit more difficult. We might need to change the strategy that you have a little bit, but I want to show you what some of those options are. So first is you can obviously look at reworking your budget, okay? So if you're banking on having some extra $5,000, $10,000 in grant money available for your down payment and closing costs, you might need more cash saved up front. And again, conventional loans have a minimum of 3% down. So if you're buying a $300,000 house, that's a $9,000 down payment. You also have closing costs. You can negotiate for the seller to pay a good amount of those closing costs as well. And so that can be really helpful for you. And you might want to also consider lower priced homes. So if you're in that spot where you're really counting on these grants, you want to go back to your loan officer and say, hey, can you just help me make sure that I know exactly what I need to bring to closing without considering one of these grants? Also, asking for seller help can be really beneficial. So sometimes what will happen is buyers will offer a higher price and ask the seller to cover part of their closing costs. So for instance, on a conventional loan, most home buyers can ask for up to 3% of the purchase price back towards their closing costs. So again, if you're buying, let's say, a $300,000 house, and let's say that your closing costs were around $5,000. Well, you have a limit where you could actually ask to up to $9,000 in closing cost credit. But what you could do is say, hey, seller, I'll offer you $305,000. Could we then have $5,000 back to pay down our closing costs? And so that is a strategy you can use in a lot of different markets to help lower the closing costs there. That way you can reduce the amount that you're bringing to closing. Again, I know it's not the most ideal situation. It'd be nice to have free money and a grant. But since that's not available, we want to look at what strategies do we have available to us to make home buying still accessible. Okay. Also, exploring other low down payment loans, right? Again, 3% down is the minimum for a conventional loan. For FHA, it's 3.5% down, right? Just an extra 0.5% for FHA if you need that for a little bit more flexible credit requirements. And then also conventional FHA, USDA, V8 allow for you to get gift funds from family members. So if you have someone in your family who's generous enough to be able to help you with that down payment or closing costs, that's also allowed. Tons of home buyers use gifts if they have those available to them. I know not everyone is fortunate enough to have family who's willing to help them out, but that also is an option you can use. Also, it's completely normal if you just want to wait. I know for a lot of people, when they keep feeling like they're hearing news over and over and over again about buying a home being more difficult, their response is usually to kind of throw in the towel. And honestly, I think that that's fine. What I would suggest is if you're in that spot where this news is really frustrating to you and overwhelming, and you're like, man, I'm just not even going to be able to buy a house ever. Maybe what you do is take a small break. Maybe it's 2 weeks, maybe it's a month. What I would suggest is go through, delete all the home buying apps on your phone, unsubscribe from whatever emails you need to, don't follow all the home buying channels and, TikTok accounts and stuff. You might need to just take a little bit of a breather to sit back and regroup, come up with your strategy and figure out, okay, is this something that I still want to do while I'm not hearing all of the voices and pressure that are, making me consider buying a house? Get a little bit more grounded, regroup, figure out, is this what I want to do? And then maybe jump back into the home buying world to see, okay, now is there a game plan that I can come up with? I think often people forget that you're allowed to take a little bit of a break if things are beginning to feel like it's too much and you have other things going on in your life that need more priority. Absolutely do that. It's okay to step back for just a little bit. Now, even though these federal grants have ended, there are still grants available on a state and local level. So we have quite a few states that have local state grant programs that we can get you access to. You can apply with us at winthehouseyoulove.com if you're interested in exploring those. So these are grants, or sometimes what will happen is the grant will be effectively in the form of a lower interest mortgage for first-time buyers. And so that can be helpful. Again, conventional, 3% down. FHA is 3.5% down. USDA is 0% down for veterans. And then also USDA is 0% down, and that is for more rural areas. Okay, so these are not impacted by these federal changes. So what I want you to do next is talk with your loan officer. If you haven't already spoken with a loan officer, you can get connected with a member of my team at winthehouseyoulove.com. We work in all states except for New York, and we would love to help you with these next steps of getting pre-approved and finding what options you have available. And then what we'll do is help you explore all the programs that you have available to you, those low down payment options, as well as we can help explore if there are any local grants available to you. And then you want to make a plan that works for you on your timeline, even if that means adjusting things a little bit. If your game plan was, I'm going to buy in 2 months because these grants were available, and now because the grants aren't available, you need to work on saving for that down payment a little bit more, that's perfectly okay. Nothing is lost by that. Work on a timeline that makes sense for you. That way you can achieve your long-term goals rather than stressing over the things that you can't change.